said, whosoever would believe in him would not perish. Exactly who all does that include? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, day number 4 of the Torah portion, Teitze. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter number 23. And it says in verse 3, an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter the assembly of Yahweh, even a 10th generation of them shall not ever enter the assembly of Yahweh, because they did not meet you with bread and water on the way when you came out of Mitzrayim, and because they hired against you Balaam, son of Beor, from Pethor of Aram Naharim, to curse you. But Yahweh your Elohim refused to listen to Balaam, and Yahweh your Elohim turned the curse into a blessing for you. Because Yahweh your Elohim loves you, do not seek their peace nor their good all your days. He says forever. Then verse 7, do not loathe an Edomite, for he is your brother, and do not loathe a Mitzrayim, because you are a stranger in his land. The children of the 3rd generation born to them do enter. They do enter the assembly of Yahweh. So, Yah's house, Yah's rules. He says the Ammonites and the Moabites, they don't ever get in. But the Edomites, the descendants of Esau, and the Mitzrayans, or those of Egypt, the Egyptians, they do get in after 3 generations. So, what's the difference? The Ammonites and the Moabites never really sought the peace of Israel. There are those that are always going to reject the covenant. They're never going to come on board. They're never going to agree to be a part of his kingdom. It says they're not accepted. But an Edomite and a Mitzrayite. So who are they? Symbolically, at least, who are they to us? The Edomite or Esau system represents the professional, key word there, the professional religious church system. I always have to make this clarification. It's always important. Let's understand that I am not saying that all Christians fit this category. They do not. Most do not. There are those that are all about the pageantry, the traditions, the acceptable doctrines of the professional church. It's full of lights. It's full of pageantry, robes, ceremony. It's elaborate. It's something to watch, but it has no power, has no authority. No matter what they claim, they do not speak for Messiah, especially when their doctrines are about agreeing with the world that is around us. That system, while he says we are not to loathe them, we're not to hate them, they're not a part of us unless they choose to do so. They can leave. There are those who can leave the professional system and come out from under the ceremonial robes of things and embrace Messiah. Many millions of Christians are sitting on chairs and pews every Sunday morning, and with all of their intention, heart, and focus, they're seeking to honor the word, seeking to walk uprightly, seeking to be obedient to Messiah. They're born again. They're eager to learn. They worship with enthusiasm and with great passion. Do they know all that we know? Many of them don't. And it's not that we know all of that. I mean, we have ourselves so much more to learn. But we've made this choice. We've come out. Do they follow afterwards? Some will. Some will remain where they are and be passionate for Messiah where they are. Then there are those who are Mitzrites. Who are they? These are the Egypt, or Mitzrayim, is symbolic of the world system. They do not have a relationship with Messiah. They're of this present world. They're looking for a political help, someone to come with an answer. They're looking for the economy to turn around and make life better for them. They're counting on the modern day pharmaceutical health system to resolve all of their health issues. They're just looking for the best in life in a very secular fashion. But if they turn to Messiah, we are to accept them. Meanwhile, while they're in the realm that they are, we're not to loathe them or hate them. How can we lead someone to Messiah if we hate them, if we're loathing of them? We can't. So therein is the need of an attitude inspection pertaining to those that are of this present world and of those that are caught up in the professional religion of things. Again, this is Yah's will, Yah's house, it's his rules. Now, Yeshua said that he did not come but to redeem the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's in Matthew chapter 15. That being said, he also said in Yochanan, or John 3:16, that whosoever would believe in him, that is in he, Yah so loved the world that he gave his only begotten, his only brought forth Son, that whosoever would believe in him would not perish but have everlasting life. There is a redemption way. There is a means of salvation for those that want to join with the covenant body of Israel. Yeshua came to deliver a particular set of people. His death on the tree was for a certain people. But then that path that is a way back for us to our covenant is also available to whosoever will. Whoever, according to Romans chapter 11, wants to be grafted in to the olive tree being Israel, covenant Israel. So in Acts chapter 10, Shimon Kepha, Simon Peter, is shown, do not call unclean those that I've called clean. When he went down to Cornelius' house, he said, I see, as Yah has given me a vision, it wasn't about to eat unclean food. It was about those that were deemed unclean, ceremonially, ritually unclean by the Jewish establishment. Yah says, I'm accepting of them. You're also to accept them. They can be born again. They received the outpouring of the Holy Spirit just like everybody else. In chapter 15, there was an understanding, Acts chapter 15, that there were Goyim, Gentiles, non-Jews, who wanted to acknowledge the fact that they had accepted Yeshua as the Messiah of Israel, and they wanted to come into the synagogues every Shabbat and learn, to study, to figure out, what does this mean for me? Having been given certain decrees that they must abide by, not to eat things offered to idols, things that were strangled, not to consume blood, and not to engage in sexual immorality. If they were willing to abide by these tenets, then they could be considered clean and set apart, come into the synagogue, and Moshe, the Torah, was taught every Shabbat. After hearing the cycle of the Torah, all the way from the beginning of Genesis or Bereshit to the end of Devarim or Deuteronomy, they would hear and understand what it means to be in covenant, why they should be immersed. What was this whole mikvah into water, immersion into water thing all about? Having understood these things, then they could be men circumcised and immersed into the name of Yeshua and come into a covenant relationship as Am Israel. If Yah's including them, we're not to exclude them. It's his house and it's his rules. We'll see you again tomorrow. So then, shalom.